All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Welcome to our Safe Schools, Safe Students press conference. I know we like to do this lots of times before school starts, so just so we can kind of talk through just safety measures that we're looking at. I'd especially like to thank our law enforcement partners who are here today. Knox County Sheriff Spangler, you'll hear from him in a second. Our Knoxville Police Department Chief, Paul Noel, is here as well, and then FBI Special Agent in charge, Joseph Carrico, is here. So thank you very much. You'll be hearing from those gentlemen in a few minutes. Their leadership is essential, and I'm very grateful for their presence in our schools. As we say time and time again, safety is not something that we can ever guarantee 100%. We always just have to have these layers and have to have these relationships to make sure that we're prepared for those things. And I know all of these folks and all of these agencies we work with very closely to make sure that happens. I'd also like to thank our Chief, Jason Perryard, who's over our security department. He's doing an outstanding job for us, and our district is in good hands with his leadership. You'll hear from him as well in a few minutes. So as we prepare to welcome students back for this next school year, I want you to know that safety is in the forefront of my mind every morning when we get started. And as I said before, we know that no safety plan is 100% guaranteed, but what we can do is continue to think and learn together and build multiple layers and to make it more and more safe as we go along. And I'm very confident that that's what we've done. Last year, I detailed the 3 strategies that we as a school system think about when we talk about security. And I'm going to restate those today. The first is to have a high-trained armed security officer in every building. We believe in that. We know that you can't always predict, as we've learned over time, what happens in each of these situations. But if we have a highly trained officer who is armed in every building, we have that expertise in the building, and that matters for us to be able to make decisions. Our second is individual safety plans that are unique to every school and that school's environment. We know that all of our buildings, we have over 90 buildings, and all of those buildings are different, and they all offer different challenges. They are close in different neighborhoods, the way their layout is, and so it's important for us that we don't have a one-size-fits-all, but we have unique plans for every one of those. And then our third is that we take every threat seriously, and I'm having conversations with some of these gentlemen before we got started. We talk on a regular basis between our departments. We take every threat that we get during the school year very seriously, and we continue to say that security is not something we can just do alone, but we need everyone part of that. It is really a community effort, and we ask people if they see something that is suspicious or out of sorts to say something. Let somebody know so that we can look into that, and we do in all of those situations. Today, I continue to believe that those are still the best 3 things that we can do. I know lots of times things happen and vendors come out and people have different ideas, but we really believe at the core those 3 things are the best things we can continue to do moving forward to be ready for any security issue. Every year we're also going to roll out some new initiatives that are going to build on those 3 ideas, and this year is no different. We're never resting. We're always trying to be proactive in what we do to be ready for new threats and things that come about. So I want to say one of those for us is really to continue to engage in proactive training exercises with our law enforcement officers. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about a lot of things that get into operational security, but I will highlight a few things even this year that we've had. In July, we did an active shooter exercise that the FBI led for us. We had over a dozen agencies, both federal, state, and local, that walked through that exercise for an entire afternoon, a 4.5, 5-hour exercise that we did. And I really appreciate just the depth of questions. It wasn't a check the box and be compliant. It was a lot of pausing by the facilitator and saying, okay, now wait a minute, we've seen this in situations. How's that going to work out? How does that play in Knoxville? And we had some really great conversations for that. Today, we are also, while we're doing this press conference, we're also hosting on-site exercises at 2 of our high schools. One that is with our security department partnering with Knox County Sheriff's Department, and one that is with our security department partnering with the Knoxville Police Department. So again, just if we don't practice these things and try these plans out, then we're not going to be ready if and when something happens. Earlier this summer, we as a school system also participated in a digital security tabletop exercise with our district leaders, just thinking through some different things. And again, I'm not going to get into details about that, but that's critically important as well. We don't think about the cyber world and how that continues to grow as a security threat for our students and also our families and our schools, so we've worked on that as well. All of these training exercises are critical to our operational security. They ensure that if something were to go wrong, that we as a community are trained and prepared to respond in the best way to keep people safe. The second thing I want to talk about this year is that we've also been investing in new security enhancements. One of those are by the end of this school year, 100% of our Knox County schools will be upgraded with a protective film for our windows and doors. Excited about that. Our board has continued to invest in enhancing perimeter security throughout the entire district. Again, you can never have enough of those things. Continue to look at that and find those gaps. Last spring, I worked with the Board of Education to invest in an unprecedented 12% raise for our school security officers, and that's coming off of another raise for last year as well. We see that continue to help as we grow classes of trainees that continue to come through. We're seeing fruit from that as well. One other thing I wanted to mention too, there's a lot of our security department that is served in the military, either veterans or active reservists or National Guard. And I have the privilege of being able to go up to the Pentagon later this month. Knox County Schools was recognized as a Freedom Award recipient. And that's basically one of the big parts of that were our board and our district maximizes the days allowable for our reservists and National Guardsmen to be paid at their full price or their full salary while they're on leave. And we continue to see that helping our recruiting efforts there. We believe in that. And we believe, again, if our military folks are well trained already and to be able to do those things, to have them join our security force is extremely important. And so we're excited to do that later this month. We are recommending, my third recommendation for this and what we're looking at for this year is we're going to recommend the use of random weapon searches to prevent and deter threats to our schools for this year. So I have worked with the board and have asked them this month to consider to renew a policy that we've had in the past that will allow us to implement and potentially expand random weapon searches throughout the district. So let me be clear, I'm not in support of institutionalizing schools. And I don't believe the right answer for that is to make schools not feel welcome. We need students to feel very welcome when they come in to the school and it be an inviting place for them. So what we're looking at this is we believe that this idea of random weapon searches gives us the opportunity to catch potential threats before they happen, but also allow schools to remain secure. There are other pieces of installing metal detectors that also, over time, if it's there every day, people learn to work around that. When you have the element of surprise to be able to bring in, to be able to mitigate those threats before they happen is very important. So we want to keep that welcoming environment while also making sure our schools are safe. In closing, I want to remind the community that we cannot do this alone. We appreciate our law enforcement partners, students, and families in this work, and together I'm confident that we'll have another great year at KCS. With that, I'd like to introduce our Chief, Jason Perriard, from our Security Division to provide a little more detail on our efforts. Chief?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Riswick. I want to first thank our friends at Knox County Sheriff's Office, Knoxville Police Department, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation for their support to Knox County schools. Thanks to the strong support of the Board of Education and our leadership, KCSD will be starting this school year at our largest and most capable. We have redeployed the force into Dr. Riswick's 5-region structure, doubled our vehicle fleet and patrol officers, and have gone live with our new software systems to more efficiently track and share trends throughout the district. This means you'll see a lot more of us. You'll see a lot more of our officers' smiling faces out in the field. But we also, more importantly, will be able to respond quicker. We'll have more in-depth and redundant systems, and we'll have backup for our officers and for our partners at the Sheriff's Department and to Knoxville Police Department. But even more comprehensive security plans fall short without solid foundation of partnerships with our law enforcement brothers and sisters. I am pleased at the amount of connectedness that we've been able to have between our departments over the last 2 years, and I am confident that with the exercises we're performing, the information sharing networks we're establishing, that we are going to be able to face anything out there that we can, and I feel confident that we'll be doing that. With that, I want to introduce one of those amazing partners, the Special Agent in charge of the Knoxville Field Office, Joe Carrico.
Not quite as tall. Thanks, Chief. I appreciate it. I'm Joe Carrico. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI field office in Knoxville. And as Superintendent Reiswick mentioned earlier, just earlier this week, the Knox County Schools hosted and the FBI facilitated an emergency response scenario for an active shooter situation. And all of our partners, federal, state, and local, participated actively in that exercise to include the 911 Center, Emergency Management, Fire Department, Knox County Sheriff's Office, Knoxville Police Department, multiple federal agencies, the Secret Service, the ATF, the FBI. And through that discussion, we exercised and practiced for that protocol that should that tragedy ever occur in our community, that we are prepared to answer that call and we know what our actions are going to be. And so it was a tremendous partnership that we have with Knox County Schools, with Chief Perriard and all of our partners. We really appreciate them hosting this event for us. And we had about 70 participants that were involved in that activity, and it was very, very well received. So thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your continued support. Greatly appreciate everything you do. Next, I'll turn it over to Knox County Sheriff, Mr. Tom Spangler.
Thank you, Joe. I'm glad you went before me and after John, so it makes me feel a lot better. So I don't like that, having to move the mic around. But let me say this. Let me say thank you all for being here. And also, as far as the Knox County Sheriff's Office, I'm grateful for the partnership we have with you, Chief Perriard. Thank you for the job that you all do, and we're grateful for that. And our working partners with Chief Noel and also our FBI with Joe. We appreciate everything that you all do. The two things that I want to talk about real briefly are safety and security. That's the number two things that we're going to be looking for. The safety of our students, the safety of our teachers, the safety of our school buildings. All of that is a number one priority for us. The security for the schools and everything else is going to be within our officers. Our SROs that are going to be in the schools are going to be in the school, in their car, driving around within the facilities and what have you, making sure that we see or they see anything. But what I'm going to ask the parents and the community to do is be vigilant. Be very vigilant, because if there's something you see that is not right or you think's not right, please let one of us agencies know what's going on, so we can at least take a look at it and see if there's something to that. But I'm going to be very, very clear on one thing. We're going to take any threat very serious. Any threat that is made, we're going to take it very serious, and we're going to look into it. We're going to make sure that if somebody's done something, it's not going to be a good thing for them, because we cannot tolerate, and we're not going to tolerate any kind of threat like that to our schools, to our students, and to our parents as well. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Chief Noel with Knoxville Police Department.
So just like everybody else said, we appreciate the partnership between Knox County Schools, the Knox County Sheriff's Office, and the FBI. In fact, a few weeks ago, I had a meeting with Chief Perriard to discuss how we could build upon our relationship and enhance security in our schools. School safety is very important for us, and every one of our organizations are responsible for ensuring that students, teachers, school staff share a safe learning environment and they can make it to and from school safely. So, as we always do in the first 2 weeks of school, the Knoxville Police Department, we're going to be in school zones all across the city, making sure that our kids can get to and from school safely. So our focus is going to be on stopping reckless or careless driving and speeding in these school zones. So I know this is a change with summer, having just gone through summer and not having these school zones. So please slow down when you're by a school, slow down and be aware of those school zones. Also, please be aware of school buses picking up kids in the morning and dropping off kids in the evening. Give extra room to these school buses, especially when they're dropping kids off and they're picking kids up. We are very grateful to have 26 school crossing guards that are going to be out deployed across the city, assigned to 22 different schools, with more coming on board soon. In addition to traffic enforcement, we will have our school resource officers deployed throughout the city in the event of a crisis. We are absolutely ready, willing, and able to stop and deal with any threat that happens in our schools. Just as the sheriff said, we take these threats very seriously as well. So any information given to us is going to be thoroughly investigated and vetted. And I just want to reiterate the strong partnership that we have between school security, the sheriff's office, and the FBI. Together, we're committed to keeping your kids safe. Thank you.